Everything you need to know about products and services that can improve your life. This is Experts on Call on CL 650.
Anything ragged or rotten or rusty, yes, I love trash.
Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street.
Absolutely, we know him well.
Oscar lived in what? A garbage
in a garbage can.
Yeah, well, StrataLife, in this segment, we're talking about taking out the garbage and how it's very important. And garbage has changed so much, and I'll just run through who our guests are again today. Drew Grout, Director of Strata Services from Key Pacific Property Management. Gordon Lee, we've been putting you to work here today with CMW Insurance. And Alex Limongelli, he's the Public Sector Manager at Waste Management, which is the company with the big green trucks.
That's right.
And you have the W trucks and the M on them.
That's right, Waste Management.
And it's a huge, huge company, and you do a lot of business, and you obviously do a lot of work with Strata. So,
yes.
If Waste Management, you're a big company, so how do you work it into a smaller building, right? Like, what are the goals of a building? This is sustainability?
Yeah, well, sustainability, I think it starts, well, the first step to sustainability is, of course, getting on site and determining what kind of waste the site is generating. There's so many products that you can recycle or repurpose, like food waste, for example. And waste management representatives are actually experts. They're trained experts in waste diversion. And as part of our service, we go into stratas and we actually go through your waste and we see what other items you can recycle or repurpose. And also, we also support that on the back end because we, as a company, we're converting all of our trucks to CNG. Which is compressed natural gas, and it's just much a cleaner fuel alternative to diesel. So on the back end, that's what we provide, but it's more importantly what you're generating at the sites and how we can separate that. You know, diverting waste from landfill is the key to sustainability, and we provide those consultations free of charge.
Okay, so it's not just taking the garbage out. That was the old way of doing it. Everything just went in a bin.
Exactly.
The truck came, it scooped it away, and away it went.
Yeah.
So now is waste management not just about taking the garbage, because there's stuff that still has to go to the landfill.
Absolutely.
But separating it all out,
yeah,
right?
That's right. That's
so is waste management now become a reduced company? Like reduce the amount that goes to
Yeah, reduce and reuse company, let's just say, because again, it's like if you think about, you know, your garbage can, 40% of it is actually organic material. When you take that out of the equation, you can repurpose that into soil that's actually used to landscape our cities. And for multifamily and strata, it's a little bit different because, as you know, anything in multifamily is the waste is very anonymous and it's very transitional. Like nobody buys into a condo to stay there for life. That's a transition, condo to townhouse to home. Mm-hmm. That's how you progress in the real estate business. So it's very transient and it's very anonymous. And for food waste, everybody was very scared of it. But it's actually pretty simple. You know, there's 40% of your waste. When you take that out of the garbage, your cost for garbage goes down. The cost of landfill garbage is extremely high. The cost to process organics is almost half the price.
So when you go into a building and you say, we're going to look at your sustainability goals, can you say to them, if you adopt this, will this will reduce your costs?
It will actually. The more you divert from landfill, the lower your costs will be. And we've seen with our food waste programs, we've seen organizations go from a certain size of bin with certain frequency of collection to a much lower or smaller size bin, less frequent collection. And again, it's really the cost to dispose of one material as opposed to repurposing and recycling the other.
So at my house, I live in a house, so
mm-hmm.
I've got a garbage can,
yes,
and it's got a black lid on it. I've got mm-hmm. a green one that's got this is the city now that picks up food and yard waste.
Yep.
I've got a gray one now, which is bottles.
Yep.
I've got a blue box now, which is plastics, and now I've got yellow bags for cardboard and paper. I've got the rainbow in the backyard there of all the different things. Is it the same at a strata? Like, how is it different?
It's actually the same in a strata. The difference is you have your own garbage for your family, and in a strata, they're actually sharing the garbage. You know, a 100-unit building, they're all sharing this garbage. So they'll have their garbage bin for all the items that are garbage. They'll have their blue recycling carts. You have a blue box.
Mm-hmm,
they'll have blue carts, a little bit bigger, mm-hmm. and that'll take care of their mixed paper and newspaper and mixed containers. And now with the new recycling regulations that are coming in place, just like you now in Vancouver have to separate your glass because mm-hmm. it's no longer accepted in the standard Blue Box program, mm-hmm. Stratas will have to adopt that program as well as things change in BC.
Okay, so is that what the recycling stewardship is? What is that?
Yeah, the recycling stewardship is actually an initiative from the Ministry of the Environment, and in 2012 they enacted the recycling regulation. And what that did was it shifted the responsibility of that recycling material from municipalities, taxpayers. Previously, you're paying for that recycling at the tax. So when you buy a box, when you buy a package from Amazon, it comes in a cardboard box. Well, you take that cardboard box and you put it at the curb for recycling. Well, you were paying for that, and the municipality was paying for that. And what this recycling regulation has done is it shifted the responsibility to Amazon. So Amazon now pays for that box to be recycled.
How come my taxes haven't gone down?
Well, the program hasn't kicked in
Oh,
Vancouver
okay, good.
yet.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, it will. It's hard to say because it'll be on. I don't know how they'll plan it in Vancouver. I don't work for the
So
city.
is this similar to the way you pay a fee for bottles when you go to buy, a bottle of pop or a bottle of wine? You pay a fee, so Amazon is going to be paying for that box?
I'm not sure if Amazon will be doing it the exact same way, but they are funding the organization that's administering the program on their behalf called Multi-Materials BC. So the producers of packaging are paying Multi-Materials BC to then go out and collect this material and process it for them. So there's two sections to this.
So that's the pressure on the company like Amazon to reduce the amount, because I
Yeah.
bought something from Amazon and it was 6 by 6 square
Yeah.
and it had this huge box filled with paper.
Filled with paper.
It was a waste.
Well, now they're paying for that. In the municipalities that are on the MMBC program, it is now Amazon that's paying for that, and that was the most recent company that joined. But they have Coca-Cola, they have Procter and Gamble. All these big companies are now paying into the program. They're responsible for it,
and hopefully reducing the packaging. The packaging is crazy.
That's right.
You see this huge package, and inside there's a little shampoo bottle, right?
That's right.
So when you go to a building and you say, okay, we're going to have this sustainability goal, and you're going to put the bio waste that's going in. What do you call it again?
The food waste.
Food waste goes
waste.
in. Organic waste goes in there. What's the percentage of buy-in? How many people, if it's a building of 100 units, what's the buy-in typically?
That's a great question. Multifamily, again, because it's so anonymous and transient, people are scared of food waste. They think it's just gross. They're recycling. So, but I can tell you that we created a pilot program for multifamily. It was adapted by the City of New Westminster. They're the first municipality that actually did a municipal contract for multifamily food waste. You're not going to hit the diversion targets that Metro Vancouver wants for all of us as a region if the multifamily world doesn't participate in this program.
It's baking, it's growing.
That's right. It's huge. Where are you going to go? Everything is going up. So we created a program that nobody wanted to touch, and I created the program myself. And to be honest with you, Harvest Power that receives the food waste, our multifamily food waste program, virtually zero contamination. And why? Because when we go into the buildings, we don't just set up the work, here's a bin, see you later. We go in and we do lobby educational events. We teach people, we give them the kitchen catchers, the tools to manage their food scraps. And with that program, we're able to divert. Now we're in New Westminster, we're up to almost 50 tons a week.
Wow. I have to agree with that, because even in living in a detached home, when the whole food waste thing came in, I thought, oh, here goes Gregor Robertson again with his,
Greener City.
Greener City, all this kind of stuff. But now that I'm doing it, it's really not that big a deal.
It's really not that big a deal.
Yeah.
So you were able to reduce the garbage?
Well, we were forced in the city to
right.
go from garbage collection every week to every 2 weeks.
That's
and the good thing, I already had the big bin.
Yeah.
But with 2 kids, and it's to get a lot of garbage. But yeah, it's not a problem. I can
not
go
a
the
problem.
2 weeks, and it's not an issue.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem at all.
All right. So there's changes afoot, right? So what can and we cannot put in a recycling bin? And so we talked just a little bit about glass. So can you kind of talk about what goes in what bin and how it works?
Yeah, so I mean, you'll see that the recycling programs are going to stay the same, but actually through the stewardship program, there's more companies that have joined. So for example, you never used to be able to put like a Starbucks cup, for example, because it's lined with wax, and so typically they didn't like it at the recycling facilities. But now you're able to put aluminum pie trays, you're able to put aerosol cans, the Starbucks cups, of course. Those can all go in. The things that have come out of
so that can go in your blue bin?
That can go in your mixed container bin, that's right. The things that have come out are the plastic grocery bags or any type of a soft plastic. You can still recycle it. You just have to take it to an MMBC designated depot. But the glass is the one key aspect that really has impacted, because we've always put glass in our blue bin. So that can still be recycled at the depot. You can take it to any one of the depots, or you can set up a service for a separate glass program. And that's where the multifamily world is going to have to get on board as well.
No, I got a dead 60-inch TV. That still has to be taken somewhere, because a lot of people will try to dump those in the bin, right?
Yeah, and that's a big mistake, because unfortunately, When those front load trucks go around and pick up these garbage bins, they're picking up 100, 120 cans in one day, kind of thing, right? So what happens is when we go to the landfill, we call them the landfill police, but really what they are, they're Metro Vancouver employees that are determining what volume of material is unaccepted, and then the hauler will get a fine.
Okay.
And once they get
so
that
that's
fine,
you guys.
yeah, we would get the fine, and then subsequently, of course, someone has to pay for these fines. So why throw a TV in a garbage bin, which is horrible thing to do? You could take it to a depot free of charge. Any one of the bottle depots will take electronics free of charge.
Really?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know, because
Yeah.
I have this dead 60-inch TV leaning against the wall in my basement, and I just have to get around to hauling it
just
away.
Take it to one of the bottle depots.
It's
and
heavy. What are you doing this weekend? You want to help me load it in the
no
car?
problem.
And I think that's the challenge with what you're talking about in stratas. You have condos
Yeah.
where people now, instead of carrying one bag down 20 floors and
That's right.
throwing it they got to carry
Multiple,
many bags,
yeah.
Many bags,
or
yeah.
they got to carry something and start sorting it out. The townhouse, on the other hand, has the containers at their back door. They're
That's right.
throwing it. You probably get better recycling at a townhome complex than you
Absolutely.
do a condo.
Absolutely. Waste Management has multifamily recycling contracts with the City of New Westminster and the City of Vancouver. And I can tell you that in both the municipalities, we're hovering around the 7% contamination level, which is extremely good for multifamily. But again, you can't create those programs. A lot of companies can just go in and put a bin in. If you don't put the education behind it, you don't talk to people about how to use the programs, just like we're discussing on these
Is it
shows.
generational too? Is you think
Absolutely.
the younger people are more into it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you talk to your kids and you talk to your children, and in schools, that's what we're doing. I manage all the Vancouver School Board waste and recycling programs, and you'd be surprised when I go to these schools. These kids are telling me, no, this is the organics bin. No, this is the recycling bin. So the next generation, they're going to be a lot more savvy than our older generation, or we are even.
All right. That's fascinating stuff. I told you it'd be interesting. When we come back, we're going to kind of do a little recap of the different levels here. So management overall, insurance, and the waste management, sort of put a bow on it as we come back. So we're talking about everything StrataLife, and we'll pick it up next on CL 650.
This is Experts on Call on CL 650.